Yeah,
Man, you're like on top of things.
You got here on time, man.
Man, not me.
I wanted to talk to Jimmy.
Yeah. Okay, we are live on YouTube.
Oh, we're live.
And
Here
we're
we go.
live on Facebook.
The Facebook.
The Facebook and the YouTubes.
On the interwebs.
The Facebooks. You got to make it all plural, right? The Facebooks, the YouTubes.
It's like the Krogers.
Are there multiple Facebooks?
I don't. There are multiple Facebooks pages.
I don't know.
You ever watch Letterkenny?
Yes.
That's
Yes,
like
sir.
Squirrely Dan always adds the S to everything. All right, let's play our chat theme here. There it goes. It's church chat with pastors Dan and Dave. Come hang out with us on our stream. It's Church Chat Wednesday.
It is Church Chat Wednesday. Sorry we're a little late. Dave's been running behind all morning. And
Dave's been here since 11:30.
Dave is a better person than Dan. Let's just say that.
I'm Pastor Dave.
I'm Pastor Dan, and that is James Adkins over there pushing the buttons and making technology magic happen. He's over there. You can't see it, but he also has one of the red and blue maps that he's constantly clicking on the counties and seeing where vote totals are.
Yep.
If you watch Always Sunny, I'm like Charlie Day when he was in the mail room, putting all the conspiracy lines together.
Conspiracy lines. I've never seen that episode, but I've seen that meme so many times where he has the red cords everywhere, pointing to everything.
Well, we have a guest today,
Yeah,
and I think she's been waiting on us.
let's do it because
Should we just...
because
yeah.
I held her up, and I will apologize.
Why did you hold her up, Dan?
It's been a long day already, and it's barely noon. But we'll get to that in a little bit.
I get it.
It's just one of those things.
It's all right.
So, all right, and our guest is
Heather Sensel. She is the education coordinator for the Mazza Museum. She had three kids that were in our youth group, Paige and Skylar and Robert.
awesome.
And
They all came
otherwise known
through
as
under your tutelage.
Brody.
Under your tutelage.
Yes.
I like the word tutelage.
Isn't that a good? That's a good word.
She's named. They called him Brody though.
Okay. Why?
I don't know. Either his middle name was Robert after the dad or something. I don't know, but
Okay.
I just know they were three super cool kids.
Awesome.
Some of
Very
my
cool.
faves.
Well, I put out on Facebook a couple days ago, like, hey, what are the other places you would like us to talk to? You know, who you think would be interesting nonprofits and things like that around here. And that was one of them. I was like, that's perfect. And I figured, I asked you, I was like, hey, do you know anybody there? And I knew you would because
Sure.
you are an art dude. I mean,
right.
you just look at this right here. Art.
Art.
He's
That's
an
right.
Adonis. He's our own.
That's your
Adonis.
that's your
Is she
medium
on
of
the line?
your
She is,
medium
yeah.
of choice.
We got her.
Hi, Heather.
Hey, hold on. Let me pull her onto the stream here. NDI. There we go.
All right.
All right, we got her.
Hi Heather, this is Pastor Dan. I'm here with Pastor Dave. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We're doing awesome.
Really good.
All right.
Awesome. So, yeah, we just wanted to have you on this morning, talk a little bit about, I guess, afternoon now, talk a little bit about the Mazza Museum. And how long have you been a part of the Mazza Museum?
I've actually been here. This will be my 5th year.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, yeah, 5th year. Gosh, it seems like a blink though. I mean, I feel like I've only been here a year. So much happens around here that it's hard to imagine it all squeezing in just in 5 years. But yeah.
Sure. Awesome.
Hey, I don't want to interrupt, but your picture, all we're seeing is the ceiling.
Okay, wait 1 second. I bet it's because we've got both on. Here we go. Hold on.
Yeah, and we might be even hearing you twice, actually.
Yes, we are.
Oh, let's do this.
Here we go.
Does that work?
Yep, that's a lot better.
All right.
Okay.
So Heather,
Wait, can you still hear me twice though? Because I still think I'm on twice.
yes.
Yes.
All right, so this is going to be the gamble. I'm going to cut one of them off.
Well, I tell you what, it'll be fine because I can reset you here
Okay.
if you want to do that.
Yeah, that's great.
Let's go ahead and do it. Pull her off right there. We'll just hang up with that.
James is doing voodoo.
James does magic. He's an actual literal magician.
You guys, if you guys actually had a real tech wizard, you'd be freaked out. My buddy Brandon is a tech wizard, and he freaks me out with the stuff that he knows. Actually, Marcus is too. All right, there we go. Let me pull you back on the stream. There we are.
And it appears that you are in some sort of barnyard.
Yeah, so if you can see my world, I'll kind of turn. This is where my world is. Of course, you guys can't, but maybe they can. So I'm in the art room. I'm not in my office anymore due to the fact that everything's virtual. So behind me is the next Tales for Tots. It also is, we're doing Turkey Trouble. So my little book right here. So that's going to be next that you'll see virtual. We just did our first Fun Day Sunday, so that was interesting. But this virtual world is a lot different. I'm not used to being on camera. I'm used to being behind the camera. So this is all interesting for me.
Excellent. So Heather, can you tell us what you do what is the Mazza Museum and what do you do there?
So the Mazza Museum, actually a lot of people, and it's kind of sad because we're right here in Findlay and a lot of people at Findlay don't even know what we do. So it is a huge blessing to have it right here at the University of Findlay's campus, because in your backyard you have you have the world's largest museum for original artwork from picture books. So you're like, why would we want that? Well, it is a huge promoter for literacy, and it really affects the lives of all people. Because if you think about it, when a child reads, that is the first step. So a wordless picture book is your beginning. They start to make up their own story. Then you walk into the stories that will start to teach you the phonetics. So if you think of growing up, my first one that comes, I'm going to date myself, but a lot of people think of Where the Wild Things Are as one of their first books. Right now, we have an incredible display for Gramacki, and a lot of people are like, "Who's Gramacki?" Well, he worked for Walt Disney World, so we have original pieces from. He was one of the first designers of Mickey Mouse, so all of those. But he also did, if you guys maybe remember this book, Little Toot. I don't know if anybody's familiar. If not, you need to look it up.
Tugboat, I think.
Yep, the little tugboat had a plane too. They did. So he actually quit working for Walt Disney to create that line, and was very, very famous with that. So I think it's trying to pull people in from all ages to kind of pull back in their brain a little bit, maybe things that they had seen before or want to read. But it really is to promote the literacy that we have, that it's important to start reading to kids as soon as possible. The more you read, the better that they're going to be in school and actually in life itself. I know it sounds crazy, but it is so true. And I was a terrible reader, terrible reader. I was one of the kids that were always in that reading department, like, my mind would go 5 miles the other way. And the pictures are what pulled me in. And that's important to know, that each piece is different for each child. Everybody learns so differently that you need all of those things together to find what's going to be the best. So I'm the education coordinator here. I develop the programs that we run with as far as Fun Day Sunday, Tales for Tots, and then our tours, which our school tours are now turning virtual, which is very, very interesting.
So you took a really big step. You had a very well-known business here in town and kind of chucked it all to pursue this. What was it that made you do that? I mean, that was a big step.
Okay, so it'll probably sound funny. I would say God played a lot in that decision. I have an education degree, but when I came home, I saw a need, not for my family. We all needed something. They needed something. So I remember my sister coming to me and she's like, "Well, there's this party store for sale, and it's creative. We can, we'll just have this small store." And it turned into us developing into double what we thought, the tables, the chairs, the tents, but I was able to do designing in that. So I was happy in my art world. but it got to the point where everybody was, we did it and we did it well, and we actually stayed talking to each other. So it was time. And I think it was hard for me to be the first one to say it was time, but my kids were starting college. I did want to teach. I missed the opportunity of teaching, but I knew where I was exactly where I was supposed to be. And honestly, I could tell you the song on the radio that hit me when I knew exactly what I was supposed to do when it came up. And Mr. Ben Sapp had asked me years before this too, hey, we need somebody. And it wasn't the right time. It just wasn't. This next time he asked, I'm like, it's the right time. So everything worked out, and everything I learned in the store, in college, and everything I've done kind of put me here. And I think it's kind of funny how you forget even the basic stuff we learn along the way is kind of the way God kind of snaps you and says, okay, now this is where you're supposed to be. It just, you just have to take all that advice and move forward. So
to put this in context for those of you who don't know, Heather, is you owned Decorations Plus.
Decorations Plus,
which
with my
was
sister.
It was a kind of the go-to place when you were having a graduation party or something like that. And about 5 years ago, you switched to this. So, who have you met that you really enjoy? Because there's been some pretty famous artists that have come through there. I know when we first moved to town, she's a teacher, elementary school teacher, and she used to go to your Mazza Institutes and those kind of things where you'd meet the artists. And
those are virtual now. Matter of fact, our next one is weekend conference coming up on the weekend of the 13th, 14th. So FYI on that. But Lita Judge, I don't want to say she's newer, but there's her background story is something that was phenomenal. She wasn't raised in a basic atmosphere. Like her dad would take her to Alaska or places that they were like in campgrounds. I mean, so this child was learning on, drawing animals from real life, and just her ability to capture their personality is incredible. We have a couple of her pieces up at the Toledo Zoo because we actually have a mini museum there now. So
that's cool.
It is very cool. And it's in the Prometica new history building that's been redone. So yeah, and that's gorgeous. But yeah, Lita Judge would be somebody I would say take the time to check into. Also, Brendan Wenzel, he is incredible in himself. And again, I'm an animal lover, and you're going to see this. Most of his books go to a lot of the proceeds go to endangered species. So a lot of his books pertain to how to help animals, and his wife is very active in that as well. But those would probably be the two that stick out in my mind as having the privilege to meet. Other than Floyd Cooper, I could go on forever. Floyd Cooper, yeah, I mean, he's phenomenal personality wise, and he actually retracts. I know this sounds weird, but imagine a board, like we'll just say general, covered in a color, but he takes the eraser, those little gum erasers, and he actually takes away to do his art and then adds. It's incredible.
I think that's one of the really awesome things about, I just remember children's, illustrations in books. I feel like there's so many different techniques and mediums that are used that I just remember that being so interesting. I mean, I think one of the ones that every elementary kid remembers is like Eric Carle, and like, okay, so you're using the tissue paper and, the different shapes and things like that. Like just all the different techniques. It's so interesting. And I think it really kind of helps kids not only develop a love for art, but maybe even an appreciation for all those different techniques.
Well, I totally agree with that, because I think the big thing that I push, because I do art camp as well, is working in a lot of multimedias, because a lot of kids will say, I'm not good at art. Sometimes it's just what you're working in. I am not an incredible person. I can draw, but I can't draw like our curator, Dan Kaczynski. But there's other things I can do. I used to, glass blowing or ceramics. Give me something like that. Everybody's different in the forms that they choose. So I think it's really important to let kids dive in and try things they would never think of trying. We actually have a artist, or I should say an illustrator, that does it in cake icing. Like she uses icing to do her illustrations. I mean, I don't think you could, I think their imagination can go wild on that. I mean, it's
Yeah.
incredible to see what these people do.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
Very cool.
So if somebody wanted to find your classes or what you have coming up next, where would they go?
go to our website. So it's just mazamuseum.org. You go under our event section. It will tell you like when Fun Day Sundays are going to show, and then they show all month after that. But there is a chance to win some incredible baskets with some book. Yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff. This last one was great. We even went to a bee farm, so I got great honey and things like that in there.
Cool.
But Tales for Tots will be on there. The conference will be on there. But all of those, and even some back history, a lot of the reading that we did when we first got closed down. We did a lot of stories, and those are just kind of fun for parents right now and teachers. I'll tell you, my heart goes out to them. I have a lot of teacher friends, and it's what's funny is the kids that we came home from school and they used to only want to be on videos and things like that. It's almost switched. Now they're home with the videos and they want to be outside, which is great. But I would love to see a combination of that come into play.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Yeah, they're ready to do something besides sit in front of their computer screen all the time.
Yeah, and that's the only way we can get to them. So it kind of hurts our heart.
Yeah.
But we're going to keep doing it and just hope maybe, that it's there when they need it. They can stop and they can start and just let them know we're supporting them. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's fantastic. Thank you so much for what you do for our community, for helping to, this is a time where I think people, especially maybe our kids, need a little bit of something different, need a little bit of a distraction, need a little bit of something that just brings them some joy and some happiness. And I think that the videos you guys are doing and the other ways that you are helping to spread literacy for kids is absolutely fantastic. So thank you so much for what you do.
Well, thank you, and I'm very blessed to have this position. I am every day. I'm glad to come into work, and the team we have here is incredible. But thank you for. I'm very impressed with the two of you. I'm liking this. I actually I love this feature. I'm gonna have to start tuning in. So
that's good. You can join our tens of viewers.
Yes, that's right.
I like it though. Start. It is a start.
Yeah. Yep. Well,
thanks so much.
Thanks, Heather.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.
That it is cool. If you've never been to the Mazda Museum, it is really cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's just like it's kind of one of those hidden gems that she's right. Not a lot of people around here, I think, know about it, or maybe they've heard of it and they don't really do anything, haven't really gone there or anything like that. And you might hear it and say, children's book illustrations, really, but it's such a cool thing.
And the really cool thing about it, I remember when I used to work at the university almost 30 years ago, and it started from this little collection in their library basement to now it's actually got its own facility at the university. And it's neat the way that some of those you forget. I know me growing up, my favorite was Mike Mulligan and Marianne, the steam shovel. You know what I'm talking about? And she gets trapped in the basement, and so then they make her the boiler.
Yep.
That was there, and just some really cool stuff.
Well, I've never been much of an artist. I mean, you are definitely more of an artist than I am. There's a few things you're better at than me, and that's one of them.
Like one, maybe two.
Here's your. Apparently, you're better at handing out backhanded compliments.
Yeah,
excellent.
But I've never been a great artist. But I've always loved. There's something about children's books illustrations that have just always been really and I think it started for me with Dr. Seuss, as plain as that might be. But that's the first time I remember thinking, oh, this is distinct. I'm gonna know when I see a Dr. Seuss drawing that's what that is. And then Eric Carle and just all these other ones that were so interesting to me. Just that people could figure out how to create these images that make stories come alive.
Yeah.
And that's really what that is. It's helping make these stories come alive. and really draw in kids. Another one I remember, and then we can get on to other things, but one that I remember specifically as a kid is the book The Snowman. I don't know if you're familiar with it, and I can't remember the illustrator's name. There's no words. It's only pictures. And it tells this whole story of this snowman and the creation of it. And like, so
Can it have a little orange coat on? Or red?
I remember he had a green hat.
Okay.
He had a green hat.
We
That's
mi-
what I
I
remember.
remember, yeah, okay.
But I just remember that thinking, okay, so that's the power of an image. That's the power of I mean, I probably didn't think of it in those terms as an elementary kid, but like that you could tell a whole story with no words. It's just pictures. Was a really cool thing. So I love that that's in Findlay. I love these hidden gems. So I'm thankful
Go see
for
it.
her. Go see it. So
And the works switch out like any other museum. So if you've seen it, go see it again.
go see it again. There you go. So mea culpa. I'm sorry. I was late today.
So being punctual is one of the other things I'm better at.
You're better at being
Okay.
punctual and art. And if we
Okay.
find a third thing, we'll let everyone know.
Okay.
So
You were watching the election, weren't you?
well, that was on in the background, but that's not what I was doing. Now, a part of it is probably that I stayed up way too late watching results and things come in. But the other thing is, I think people probably know our house is on the market, and so got a call that we have a showing tonight at 6, and so I was like, oh, Holly's at work. I have to clean everything. So I was busy doing that, and then I get a call from you. Say, hey, like,
Hey, buddy.
are you coming? Like, probably should.
And you're not moving away.
I'm not moving away. I mean,
you're still going to be at St. Mark's.
just right outside of town. We're on the family farm, hoping to move out that direction. So we're staying at St. Mark's. Actually, if anything, it solidifies me. Like, this is a forever home.
'Cause now you're-
we're looking
yeah.
at doing, and I ain't going nowhere after that. So you guys can fire me, but I'll just show up for service on Sunday.
Tell the
Like,
diocese.
I'm still coming. So whether you like it or not. But yeah, so my bad. I was in the middle of that and didn't realize. Also, Wednesdays have now become a very strange day for me, at least this week, because this is the one day a week now that the kids are all home.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Because now, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, all 3 kids are in school, and so Wednesdays they're home. So this is like this now this become this weird day in the middle of the week where all of that is happening, but all of the rumors now, and I feel like we need to address this. I don't know if you've seen this. All of the rumors now say we're going red tomorrow.
You know,
But I know we've had a lot of this. I know.
seems like every week I have somebody who's been in a secret meeting and we're supposed to go red.
I know.
But you were talking about the election, and let me tell you something. I had a revelation last night. I don't think I've ever watched election results that night. It's usually like, I'm going to binge watch whatever I watch. I already cast my vote, and we'll wake up tomorrow
Right.
and there'll be a president kind of thing. But I don't know if it's because it was like the margins are so thin
They're so close.
that I I was binging out on. I was stressed. I was binging out on Halloween candy, watching this,
Is there any other way?
and then I had a revelation. America, how can we be so divided? Milk duds are not duds at all. It's a delicious, underrated candy.
Now, all right. Milk duds are the ones that are chocolate with caramel inside.
Yeah,
Okay. I get milk duds and Whoppers mixed up.
Whoppers.
Whoppers have that, like, what do you call that that's inside? I don't.
Malt.
Yes. I don't like that.
Yeah,
I don't like that at
it's
all.
like chocolate. Chalk.
No, it's terrible.
Chalk. It's
That's
like,
awful.
They're like 2 steps above circus peanuts and chicks.
So I will eat. You mean Peeps?
Yeah, Peeps.
Yeah. I will eat a circus peanut. I will not eat a bag of circus peanuts. Don't look at the camera like
it's
that.
the booger of all candy. It is like the bottom.
Black licorice. You're for black licorice. So I don't
You don't
take anything you say seriously.
You don't trust my judgment.
No, not at all. But yeah, man, those Whoppers are just terrible.
But candy has come a long way. When
Candy is. Look at this guy
There.
right here.
Whoa.
Let's look, and here's some Whoppers right there. All right, now let me ask a question. The Almond Joy Bar. How do you feel about the Almond Joy
I
Bar?
like it.
I like the Almond Joy Bar.
If I were to pick anything here, it'd be this. It'd be
The
this.
Heath Bar. So here's the thing with
You can
almond.
have all my Heath bars.
Here's why I love Almond Joys, because my kids hate them, and so
Yeah.
I know I'm gonna get them.
That's funny because Heidi's mom.
Mounds
I would
are
always-
greater than almond joys.
I would always ask her to slightly burn the cookies.
Yeah,
Some cookie, and
because
she
the
meant
kids don't like
cookies,
the burnt ones,
Right.
and so you get them.
and she thinks I like them. I don't.
Yeah.
I just want cookies.
One of my favorite things to do is buy foods that I know no one else in my family likes.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, just because I'm like, this is
it's mine. Yeah.
I don't have to worry about
But
it.
candy has come a long way.
Yeah.
I remember when my grandma would have that obligatory bowl out
Sure. Mm-hmm.
of loose candy, and you go to pick one, and the whole bowl would come with it because it was
Yeah.
all just sat there so long.
So, James, I have a question. Do you have all of this candy because you bought it for trick-or-treaters and this is what's left over, or because you yourself went trick-or-treating?
Neither A nor B.
Okay.
I basically just
You
saw-
just have candy on hand?
Well, I saw a bunch of candy for Halloween, and then I thought, I'm going to buy some candy, and we put it in a bowl on our table. Did not make an attempt to do any trick-or-treating and or have any trick-or-treaters, but I do have a bunch of candy in a bowl on my table.
Did you have any trick-or-treaters out here?
I was working.
Oh, that's right.
But I
Yep.
will say this:
party.
James had a rockin' Halloween outfit.
Oh, man.
He was Post Malone.
Yes.
It was pretty cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm just glad all the ink came off before church the next morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think one of my what did Adeline call you? She said you weren't Post Malone. You were maybe pre Malone.
I did hear that comment.
Current
Yeah.
Malone,
Yeah.
something like that.
Current Malone has even more ink on his face at this point.
Is that right? Yeah. So, So obviously we're still waiting on election results.
Hey, throw me that Snickers.
You want that Snickers?
I do.
Well, since it's yours, I guess I'll give it to you. Here's what's been encouraging to me. I know there was a lot of talk about there's going to be some unrest, and I know it's early on. Still could be problems. Everything seems to have been pretty. People might be disagreeing about things, but everything seems to be pretty, generally speaking, calm. Which is,
I think a lot of people just want it to be over. You know,
I think the majority of people just want it to be. I even heard somebody today say, talking about different results, and they said that one thing both sides can agree on is they want this to be done.
Yeah.
I think they want this to be like, we want to be able to finalize this thing.
Well, if I had one request, that would be, no matter how this plays out, leave us some toilet paper.
Right. Yeah. We don't need to go through a second toilet paper
Yes.
apocalypse in the same year.
But what advice would you, as a pastor, what advice would you give? I know we've talked about it the last couple episodes, but today, what's your advice today for?
I think it's really kind of the same as what I've talked as what we've talked about before is, number one, keeping our eyes on the overarching reality that as followers of Jesus, we believe that he's ultimately in charge. Ultimately, Jesus is on the throne. I think that one thing you also get in post-election day clarity, even though we don't have results today, is we get so caught up in the everything hinges on that day and that outcome, right? Life will either be great or life will be terrible. And the day after, it's just life. And, you still have to go to work. You still have to take care of your kids. You still have to get your house cleaned. You still have your leftover candy. Neither party came and took 10% of it. It's great. You still have that. And your neighbors are still your neighbors. And I have neighbors on either side of me that have opposing signs, and I still love and care about both of them.
Yeah.
And one of them ultimately is going to be sad. One of them is ultimately going to be happy. And, it's, as followers, I think as followers of Jesus, it's a part of our job to, we can have our own political opinions. That's totally fine. But to just take care of one another,
right.
to love one another, to show that kind of, we talk about unconditional love. This is a condition, is this a condition of whether or not you care and love about someone?
Not only that, but Christ is on the throne.
Christ is on the throne.
As you've said a lot, but because Christ is on the throne, we still have to man our post. I mean,
we have a job to do.
He still has expectations of us, and one is that we are the peacemakers, not the peacekeepers, the peacemakers, and you can't do that with a bitter heart.
Absolutely, and we've mentioned this over and over again. Donald is a beloved child of God. Joe is a beloved child of God. Kamala and Mike are beloved children of God. And it's really easy to dehumanize them. But I think about, somebody's out of a job.
Yep.
Somebody's life is going to involve a whole lot of pressure on the next 4 years, and is going to be leading us. And I pray for them, and I pray that they follow God's will and God's guidance, and somebody else is going to be devastated and is going to just be really, really hurt by this. And man, I feel for them too. That's a hard thing.
Yeah.
That's a hard thing I don't want that for anyone. And not just there. I was thinking about that also as I was, I was listening to the radio a little bit this morning, running some errands, and hearing about local races. And I was thinking about that. I was like, okay, you didn't win, so what are you doing now? And are you okay? Check in if you happen to know somebody that lost a race. Check in on them. Today's a hard day. It's a hard day.
Imagine, because did the school levy pass?
No.
See, I didn't think it would. Imagine if you work for the schools right now.
Sure. Finley's did not. I know that Van Buren's did, but I don't. Yeah, I don't.
Well, it was, they had reduced the millage, and there were already going to be some job loss.
And you know what? For those who didn't vote for it, and I'm, I try not to endorse any one person or position or another. So I don't fault anyone. If you have your reasons for not voting for it, I understand that. But I also feel for people who are now not going to, there's going to be job loss that happens. There's going to be families that are hurting out of this. So I feel for them also.
Yeah, that's where I was going. That there's going to be cuts.
Yeah, and it's just a part of our and so that's where I think for us as Christians, we focus so much on the event sometimes that we forget about the aftermath of the event. In the aftermath of any event like this, there are those who are full of joy and there are those who are full of sorrow.
Right.
And a part of the job of followers of Jesus is to bind the wounds of the brokenhearted.
Yep.
And so I guess that's a part of what I would encourage people to, and also I've been texting with some people this morning, and there are people who are as they're watching different results for different things roll in, who are just very on edge, very sad, these kind of things. And some of these are colleagues, and I'm like, y'all, this is, I'm have your strong opinions. That's fine, but perspective matters. Perspective in all of this matters. Ultimately, no matter how all of this ends up and who ends up in the who ends up in the White House or whatever, ultimately, especially colleagues, we got to preach Sunday.
Yeah.
You got to give a message of hope and of salvation.
I'm preaching this Sunday.
Yeah, I know, it's your job. So you do that. But, we're getting into this Thanksgiving season, right? And we're going to be talking about this a little bit, giving thanks in difficult times. Regardless of the outcome, are you going to be able to give thanks to God?
Right.
And I think that's important for us. We're called to be people of gratitude. So how do you do that when things don't go your way?
And there is a flip side, too, to what some people are worrying about. And I'm finding it a lot in young people. And that is, they're worried about civil unrest.
Sure.
Which, because you hear that on the media and that kind of thing. And it's also been our job to let them know, 85% of what the things you worry about don't happen.
Sure.
Let's cross that bridge when we come to it.
Yeah.
And let's pray that we keep peace and unity. And so if you are one of those young people that is worried about that, don't. There's nothing to worry about right now.
Yeah. It's a weird time to be alive. I mean, it's a weird time to have, I've got an 8-year-old who's watching election results with me and asking what all these different numbers mean. And some of it, I don't know. Yeah. I don't really know what that means, But okay, so here's something that was really interesting. So, was together with some family celebrating a birthday Sunday night, and Amelia and her cousin, who's a girl same age, were talking in the backseat of the van, and the cousin said, "Who are your parents voting for?" And Amelia wasn't really sure, but said something, and then her cousin said, "Well, mine's voting for this one, the other one," and all that, and like, "Well, why is your parent voting for them?" Like, well, I don't know. They think they're nice or whatever, and they go, "Oh, okay." Like, that was it. That was a whole conversation. Like, it was just, and there's something about, this, Jesus talks about, having faith like a child, and that's who inherits the kingdom of heaven. And, I don't want kids voting necessarily, but I do think that we can learn something from the way that they treat others who are different from them, who have different ideas than them, who, maybe even different core beliefs than them. There's that conversation like, "Oh, okay," and then you go and you do your thing, and we're gonna go play now.
Yeah.
And so I'm hopeful for that. I'm hopeful for unity, not uniformity. And we'll see kind of how all of this ends up playing out. But I will say this also, and I don't want to plug any particular news station or anything like that, but if you happen to watch, I was flipping back and forth between a bunch of them. John King on CNN and his maps, that dude's like a wizard. I don't know how he does all of the pushing the buttons and everything. Like, it's like, well, let me tell you about this random county in the middle of Nevada. Like, how do you know that? Like, how does anybody know any of this? It was just so weird. But yeah.
So, because this is a full-service show,
go for it.
And I'm of course watching everything diligently. I just want to let you guys know, nothing's for sure yet, but it's not looking good for Kanye.
So I
hopes
was
are still high, but just not looking.
So
great.
I was wondering about that because I noticed in a couple of states
I think you got like 3,000 votes somewhere.
there were a couple of states where they're like, it was 49% to 48%, and I'm like, who's got the other three?
Well,
Is it Kanye? What is happening?
Jo
here?
Jorgensen got like 1% of the vote.
Did
too.
she?
Yeah.
Okay, Jo Jorgensen. Okay, I was just curious because I saw that a couple places like, who, what? Because I remember in 2016 there's Gary Johnson. Took a couple percentage points in a couple of states where it mattered quite a bit. So, I was like, who's getting it here? Like, is it Kanye? Really? Is that what's happening? So anyway.
In our realm,
Yes, in our realm.
we have a bake sale on Sunday,
Yes.
and the youth are trying to. It'll be between first and second service, and after second service, the youth are trying to raise money to buy help buy a steer.
Buy
for
a steer for the city mission. Yep.
And everything that they bake or make will be prepared with the utmost caution.
Yes.
So that's one thing. If we go red,
I think we are canceling services. I'm going to confirm that with our leadership team. But if we would go red, that's been our plan all along. Is that we'll pull back and everything will be virtual.
Yeah.
As we did back a
we'll
couple
be
months ago.
online,
Yeah. Yeah.
and there will be no youth.
Be a virtual bake sale.
Virtual.
Virtually
Just
buy
throw
a
money
cookie.
at us, and you can we'll take screenshots.
We will send you a picture of a cookie.
Yeah.
and you send us money.
Now the youth are signing up for a retreat that will be
Yeah.
the following weekend. If that county stays yellow, which it has been,
Yeah.
if it's yellow or orange, we will still go to that retreat. So have no fear.
Have no fear. Have no fear. Maybe that's a good word for today. Fear
Yeah.
not.
We've been here before.
Fear not.
We'll be okay.
We'll be fine.
All
You should
right.
have a secret word like the Pee Wee Herman.
Oh, you just said the secret word. I like that.
All
We
right.
do need it. We need a big blue chair that talks to us. Or do we?
No.
No, we
I'm
don't.
good. We have James.
We have James. James is better than any talking big blue chair, and I'll take
That's
that to the
right.
bank.
I don't know
Yep.
if that's true.
All
So
right.
next week, James, are you
Next
going to be
week.
here next week?
No.
Why?
I'll be in Florida.
Where? What?
I will be at a songwriters festival.
Then somehow,
Ooh.
because
They don't go
Dr. Fell is supposed to be on again.
We won't cancel Dr. Fell. We'll make it happen somehow.
Okay, 'cause-
Some way, shape, or form.
Last time we bumped her because James wasn't here,
I know.
so
Bad
We'll figure it
luck.
out.
we'll have to figure it out.
It'll be fine. We'll make it happen somehow.
Yeah.
To be fair, I tried to reschedule her for this week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all right. We'll make it happen somehow. But yes, so keep an eye. Tomorrow, 2:00 is when county stuff comes out. I know there's rumors that we're going red. We don't know anything. We're gonna wait till it's official. So we'll check that out. If we go red, we'll be virtual. Otherwise, 9:00 traditional, 10:00 Sunday school, 11:15 contemporary worship service, and yeah, it'll start a new series. Dave's gonna preach on it. It's gonna be rocking.
Yep. I'm excited.
Dave got his sermon done early this week. Dave's usually like a Saturday night guy, but man, he's killed
Usually
it.
Saturday night around 10:00.
You killed it.
I'm
this week.
closing the
It's
books
like
on that.
The Holy Spirit was like, "Bam, Dave, here you go."
But I got the meat and potatoes on it Friday, and I finished it yesterday, polished it today.
How's that feel? Does that feel good?
Yes, it does. It does.
Well, good. I'm glad
So-
for you. So, all right, you all take care and close out with the theme song. And James will play some sort of magical instrument, right?
Magical. And I do want to let you know that Kelly Bibler said, hey.
Hey,
And also that Heather Sensel is the bestest.
Heather Sensel is the bestest. Right on. We agree today.
I should have wrote in Kelly Bibler on my.
Oh, next
ballot.
time I'm writing in Kelly Bibler on my ballot. Absolutely.
I think James should play you that drill.
The what?
The drill over there for his instrument. Be it the Frank
The
Zappa.
screw
of
gun.
Let me just
church
practice
chat.
on it for a minute. Where do you see that?
It's right there.
The green drill.
I've been looking for that for like 3 days.
It's sitting
All
next
right.
to you.
There we go.
Reach out your right hand.
All right.
Where do you see that?
That's what it hides in plain sight. All right. You guys ready for some theme music?
Yep.
Take care, everybody.
This was Church Chat with Pastors Dan and Dick. Come hang out with us on our stream. It's Church Chat Wednesday.
Take care.
See ya.
Almond Joys.
Oh my gosh, I bet that was horribly loud.
I'll show this down the cushion.
And